Welcome back to this Best of the I-Team edition of 11 TV Hill. For months, the 11 News I-Team pored over documents related to the unsolved murder of a 3-year-old Howard County boy named Elijah. Up until the day he died, his safety was being monitored by Child Protective Services. His father claimed the state was grossly negligent. In March, I-Team reporter Deborah Weiner examined the events leading up to the day that Elijah was murdered in his home.
They are gnawing and troubling questions. Who killed 3-year-old Elijah Lajunas almost 4 years ago? And did authorities fail to safeguard his young life? Elijah's father, Robert Lajunas, believes so.
I wish there was a way they could turn back time and get people to do what's right.
On April 13th of 2011, Howard County Police were called to Basket Ring Road in Columbia for a report of a child found not breathing. Elijah had been asphyxiated, according to the chief medical examiner, physically assaulted, and his death ruled a homicide. Police say the only 2 adults in the home at the time were Elijah's mother, Joaquina Lajunas, and her boyfriend. Neither were charged in his death, a tragedy that occurred while Elijah's safety was being monitored by Child Protective Services. Attorney Erwin Kramer represents Elijah's father, Robert, who was separated from Elijah's mother.
Not many people know the name Elijah Lajunas. Not many people understand the abject failure of the system to protect this child.
With this case still unsolved, the 11 News I-Team filed a Public Information Act request to obtain documents from the Howard County Police Department and the Howard County Department of Social Services. A lengthy paper trail begins to form nearly a year before Elijah was killed, after he suffered 1st and 2nd degree burns to his feet so severe he was treated at a hospital burn unit.
The alleged maltreater, according to Child Protective Services, was identified as Joaquina's boyfriend. During a Child Protective Services investigation, the agency initiated a safety plan that dictated Elijah's mother not allow there to be any contact between her boyfriend and Elijah, who was 2 at the time. But a few months later, a social worker noted the mother continued to allow her boyfriend to have contact with Elijah. The boyfriend appealed the CPS finding. The abuse was changed to unsubstantiated, and he was reintroduced to the family in a modified safety plan. After another report of physical abuse and neglect where no maltreater was identified, the county temporarily placed Elijah in his father Robert's protective custody for 6 weeks. In the midst of all of this, Elijah's mother alleged that Robert had abused her and her children, though he was never found guilty of any of that. And several years earlier, Joaquina Lajunas charged in court that Robert abused her and sought a restraining order. The two eventually agreed on a protective order, but there was no finding of abuse. As a father, Robert is heartbroken.
He was just a very loving kid that had the potential to grow up to do great things, and that was all taken away from him way too soon.
After Elijah returned to his mother's apartment, CPS updated a family service plan. Regular home visits, both announced and unannounced, were called for.
But less than a month later, Elijah, who was buried here in a snowy grave, was found dead. The police report concluded that neither the mother nor the boyfriend could give a reasonable explanation for the sudden death of the child. To this day, no one has been charged with the murder of Elijah Lajunas.
The state would like us all to forget about Elijah, because they forgot about Elijah when he was still alive.
Robert Lajunas has filed a lawsuit against the Maryland Department of Human Resources and the Howard County Department of Social Services, saying they were grossly negligent, failed to protect Elijah's life, and despite safety concerns, failed to visit his son in the 2 months preceding his death. The Department of Human Resources declined our request for an on-camera interview. In a statement, the agency calls the death a tragedy, adding, "Generally, the department's ability to successfully intervene is affected by many factors, including judicial findings and the sufficiency of evidence available to determine those who are responsible." The Howard County Police will only say the criminal investigation into the death of Elijah Lajunas remains open. For the 11 News I-Team, I'm Deborah Weiner.
Elijah's mother served 8 days in jail for violating the safety plan mandated by the state and 2 years of supervised probation. As for the lawsuit filed by Elijah's father, his attorney tells us that the case against the state was settled in May for the full amount, $200,000. That amount was limited by statute. And Howard County Police tell us that they have no updates on the investigation into Elijah's murder. Well, who killed Daniel Coverston? His family wants answers and justice. Just last month, the 22-year-old's family spoke publicly for the first time with 11 News I-Team reporter Barry Sims. It's been nearly 7 years since Coverston was murdered, and still no answers.
Rebecca Coverston and her husband Ryan Williams seek safety and security on the West Coast, but moving thousands of miles from Maryland has not brought them peace.
It's tragic and it consumes us.
The unsolved murder of Rebecca's brother Daniel Coverston is constantly on their minds.
He was my brother and I loved him and I still love him.
Although hard to talk about, they've decided to speak publicly for the first time, because nearly 7 years after his death,
very unfortunately, we have absolutely nothing to go on at this point.
The investigation started February 14, 2009. A maintenance worker discovered Daniel unresponsive in his Towson apartment in the 7,000 block of Lackland Circle. The initial emergency call came in as a cardiac arrest, but police say he died from a brutal, violent act.
They shot him in the back of the head while he was lying face down on his bed.
Detectives know Daniel left his apartment door unlocked while recovering from eye surgery so friends could check on him.
I begged him to come home. Mom begged him to come home. Dad did too, but he was 22. And he had his own apartment.
Police are releasing new information. They know prior to his murder, Daniel received a phone call from this public phone at Lockraven Boulevard and Belvedere Avenue.
What we don't know is, was he talking to the suspect? Was he talking to the person that murdered him?
Described as intelligent, compassionate, and well-liked, Daniel attended Towson University. His diploma conferred 2 days after the killing. Police are frustrated.
We talked to 33 people during this investigation so far, and we haven't gotten any information that would lead to the positive identification of any suspects.
The investigation at times infuriated the victim's family. They complained about their treatment, finding officers non-responsive and dismissive, and insinuating that Daniel led a double life as a drug dealer. Commanders found the detectives did nothing wrong.
People don't always understand the way investigations go. Sometimes people hear things they don't necessarily want to hear.
From the investigation, the family did learn Daniel was selling small amounts of marijuana, another reason why he would leave his door unlocked.
Yes, he was selling pot to his college friends. And his college friends, especially when he was ill, could come and go as they pleased and leave the amount that they felt was appropriate.
But police say they have no motive. It doesn't appear Daniel had any ongoing disputes with anyone, and they don't know if anything was missing from the apartment. Daniel's family strives for peace and hopes
Dan's murderer will be caught and justice will be served.
They say they are working with police, hoping to find even the smallest bit of information that could resolve a 7-year mystery. For the 11 News I-Team, I'm Barry Sims.
And if you have any information, something you heard or maybe even saw on social media, no matter how insignificant it might seem, Baltimore County Police asking that you contact them. We've got phone numbers and ways for you to stay anonymous in this story, all on our free WBAL TV mobile app. Just tap on I-Team.